Well, other people might.
Well, hello. Welcome back to
Hey,
Bellwether No. Sorry we're a little late. Weather's not great here in Odessa, and when you live out in the sticks and the weather gets bad, your internet sucks.
yep, that's what I do. I blame the weather too, because we don't get bad
Yeah.
weather in Denver. It's perfect.
Well, y'all actually care about everybody in y'all's little area, but when you live out in the sticks, they don't care about your internet. I'm surprised we still don't have dial up.
I thought that's what you're on.
That's what we're using. That's the
Yeah,
dial up.
tying up the house phone.
Tying up the house phone to talk to you.
Ah, good.
No, no. Um, but yeah, welcome back to Bellwether No. Sorry if the picture's bad or the audio or whatever. We're lucky to be on tonight. We had a rough time getting going. Um,
That's an understatement, bud.
yeah. Um, with this episode, first off, want to like and share, send to all your friends, get them views up because the more people we can reach, the more people we can help. Um, we've done pretty good in the past with it, but let's see how many people we can get to to like and share. First things first, Valentine's Day is coming up. We
Yeah.
excited about that, Whitney? Got big plans?
Yeah. My wife wanted to go to this
If they're
place.
secret plans, don't tell her. Don't say it.
Oh no, she's actually the one that made the reservations. Took all the work out of it for me.
That's, well, that's probably smart.
Yeah, we're going to like this wine bar. It's called Crew, and if you've been in downtown Denver, you know about Larimer Street, and it's right on Larimer. And it's a wine bar that has like a set menu for Valentine's Day, and one of the choices is a prime fillet. So that'll be good, hopefully. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, but what's exciting about it is you're not going to go spend. Well, I say this now, like $300 because it's $60 a person. So I can deal with $120, stuff and not feel too bad about it. But yeah, it's exciting. Get to hang out with my
Well,
my wife, and that's always fun. So
oh yeah, oh yeah. I think Friday night I am going to Midland to the Rusty Spur to go see Cleet Bradley in the Mood in a concert.
oh yeah,
Um, yeah, it's that barbecue joint where I sent you pictures
the
from.
brisket nachos,
Yeah, the brisket nachos. Yeah,
the Rusty
yeah,
Spur sounds like something you would never find
yeah.
in Texas. Oh, good. Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
I was telling my mom about it earlier, and I was like, well, so I don't have a Valentine's date, so maybe I'll just take myself. And she goes, well, you might find you one there. I was like, I doubt it.
Well, you never know.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, I wouldn't
I
go
kind of
looking
do.
for it, but
No, I never do. So, well, for you lovebirds, well, I doubt we'll talk to you again before Valentine's Day. I hope y'all have a great Valentine's Day.
be safe.
Uh,
Remember, Uber is probably the best thing to do if you're going to get a
yeah,
little fancy
and
out there and drinking.
con- condoms are a lot cheaper than kids and diseases.
Oh God.
Just saying.
Well, that's kind of true too, though.
So, today's podcast, we're going to be reflecting on some of our guests. One thing that we've noticed when we have guests, we let them, take the show because it's their show. So we're going to reflect on some of the guests. We're going to start with Alan. Just kind of talk about some of the things that we talked about, some of the things that we had, like we've thought of later after the show was over. And Alan was our first guest. He was a trooper, man. I mean, he did really good, I think.
He was our first.
For
He was our first. Was he our first?
He was our first.
And yeah, and it kind of touches home because he was coming from the law enforcement side too.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I think when Alan was on here, he did really.
Do you
One
have
of
all
the
your
things
notes?
that sticks out. I am pulling them out right now. I'm
Okay.
pulling out my notes. See, and that's where it would have been nice if you
Hey,
took
that's
my.
where we're different. Okay, I think I can keep everything in my head, but that is absolutely false. So I started taking notes
Okay.
like yesterday.
Okay. So the thing with Alan, I'm back to Alan's now. The
Yeah.
thing that I remember the most about Alan, and I actually brought this up to a police buddy of mine last weekend at that cook-off that I went to. Um, when he was talking about when he goes into a place and like a family has a child with them, he'll tell that child, be on your best behavior or he's going to arrest you, And, um, I brought that up to a buddy of mine that is a police officer here in Odessa. And I asked him, I said, does it really bother you too? And he goes, man, he said, there's nothing worse. He said, because it scares that child. And it makes it to where that child won't even come talk to us if he needs it, because he's
Yeah.
afraid that we're going to throw his ass in jail. And so I guess that kind of stuck out with me with Alan. Another thing is, when he said you're weak if you talk about it,
Well,
like
that you got to think about that though. Like, it's that's the perception because when you're a police officer, you work with all A-type personalities, and no one wants to be the weakest link. You know what I mean?
right,
And that's not true just in the police world. It's true in any other male-dominated, career. And um, and it's kind of sad because I think that's a huge reason why people don't go ask for help is because they don't want to be that guy.
yeah,
But me working with the people I work with, I see certain friends of mine that are in the senior, I guess, leadership roles like myself, and they're actually pushing to go get the help now, which is a breath of fresh air. They're like, "Hey, you're not wrong if you do. You're not, just it's okay to ask for help." And so that is being pushed more from what I can see in my
yeah,
point of view, which is great, you know.
yeah.
So
And when you think of all that, I mean, like look back at our unit that we deployed with. I would say there was a lot of A-type personalities in it, especially in the
it's
upper.
Motley Crue, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, it was.
It was a Motley
But
Crue.
and you know, we made fun of each other if one of us had to go to sick call or
Yeah.
you know, I mean that's just going to sick call to go get some medication because you're
Hurt.
coughing up a lung or something. And can you imagine if we would have went up to one of each other and was like, "Man, my head's not right. I need to go talk to somebody." I mean, after all the hell we give each other just for going, to go get a cough fixed or a sprained ankle or whatever.
I
I
remember
mean,
one time in the Cougars, I lied to everybody because I wasn't going to be a PT and said I had a dental appointment. Like, who has a dental appointment at 6:15 in the morning? But I had to go because I messed my toe up like running because that's all we did was run, and
yes, that's
I
one of
didn't
the
want
reasons
anyone
why I
to know.
hate running now.
So
But yeah, I agree. I remember one time we were in the field and when we were in the field, uh, I got eat up by chiggers. It was that last field problem we did. Remember we had to come back early because the fucking tornadoes were hitting all around us.
Yeah, but didn't they
And
put us
like,
in the put us in the motor pool?
yeah, we got out of the field to go to the motor pool, so that tornado could pick up a howitzer and throw it at us or some
Yeah.
shit, you know. But anyway, I remember going to top, you know, that morning saying, "Hey, I need to go to sick call. You know, I need to go get some calamine or whatever to treat these chiggers." And he goes, "Well, Wadzik, I can't feel my leg from the knee down. Do you see me going to sick call?" All of a sudden, I felt better.
Yeah, because that was just the mentality of the unit. I mean, you also got to look at it too. Like we're in a combat MOS, and we were made to deploy, told that we're probably gonna die to an extent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember in basic training
Yeah,
when I was going.
even our
Yeah.
cadences talked about it
Oh yeah.
dying, and you know, I mean, it is what it is. So okay, after Alan, we had Monica. And Monica kind of hit home because she did some of the same stuff we did as
Yeah.
far
Well,
as
she's attached to an artillery unit.
yeah, well, she was in an artillery unit and she did the convoy security also.
Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of hit home a lot with me. The thing with me with her, okay, looking back at that one. Okay, we had females in our unit that were mechanics. They didn't. I mean, they went outside the wire, but not like the platoons that were actually, you um, doing the actual security. Sometimes they would come out, just to, get their miles or whatever, But um, I can't imagine. I can't imagine how she felt being put in a unit she wasn't comfortable with, and saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're no longer an 88 Mike. You're coming out here to do this." I mean, it was bad enough that we were in a whole unit not doing what we, signed up to do. And but can you imagine being singled out like that?
But here's the thing about
that would be hard.
Here's the thing is she was attached to a artillery unit, which like I said, we know artillery, we know Red Legs, we know how we act, we know how we are, and it's not pretty. We're rough around the edges, and that's never going to change. Shit, I've been out 12 years now. That hasn't changed. But the good thing about her story that I really liked is she was taken care of. And that's one of those positive stories that need to be heard, that, you go to a male dominated career field or whatever, you will still be taken care of if you're surrounded by the right people,
Oh, no.
So I remember she said she still talks to her brothers in arms.
Yeah, and that goes to reflect on not just military friends, but your, like our MOS. We were close. We were very close. Sometimes closer than what social norms may dictate. I mean, um, if I were to get dropped in another unit, and in the way that she was, I don't know how I'd feel about it. I mean, the unit that I was in Korea, I thought we were close, but it was nothing like what we had with the Cougars.
Yep.
But it is what it is. I'm the biggest thing that I can take away from hers is she's still here, dude. She's still fucking here. She fought the battle and she won, and she's still fucking here.
Yep.
And that to me, man, that makes me happy. I mean, we set out to try to help somebody, at least one person. We've set out to do that from day one. And I know we're not the reason why she's still here, but to hear that success story on our podcast and as raw as it was, oh my God. Oh my God. It was amazing. It was amazing for me, to hear that. So that's my biggest thing with her is that she's still fucking here.
Yeah, and it was because the people she was surrounded by, that took care of her, and it's I mean, it's a I don't know, it's hard to talk about because a lot of the times you hear the females in the military doesn't end up that way, and I'm just glad that we had that one success story. Like, I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, our next guest was Priscilla from Lubbock.
Well, that was interesting.
Sweet girl. It was a very interesting story. I knew her a little bit before the came onto the show. And, I knew that her husband had committed suicide, but I didn't know the whole story that we got on here. Probably the most uncomfortable I've ever been during an interview that we've done on here. And I don't know if it was the fact that she was actually sitting right next to me telling the story or just the story itself. I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say on that whole situation because, when people start telling their stories, I try to put myself in their position. I try to think of it on how they were thinking of it at the time, and with her, I just couldn't imagine being in that kind of situation. I mean,
well, I think that's the first time that I've been literally had nothing to say because I didn't know what to say. And most of the time, if I don't know what to say, I say shit and it's the wrong thing and it just aggravates the situation. So I'm just like, I don't know what to say, And I think my wife even made a comment, like, she said something, and I'm like, I just didn't have the words, but her story, it was pretty deep.
very deep. And it hit close to home, because some of the things that she was feeling and going through, I remember feeling and going through like when Hill was gone. And, when I was a kid and my cousin, took his own life. I mean, I remember feeling some of those feelings that she felt. And I never really thought, I was like, maybe I just was too attached or something, you know what I mean? But to hear somebody else feel that kind of pain, like I can kind of understand it, It's a little easier to understand, I guess.
I mean, yeah. Like, I still don't have a whole lot to say about that one because it was so, I mean, not in a bad way. It's just so caught me off guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, she was a trooper for coming on telling that story, and I thank her for it. So then, after Priscilla, we took one hell of a break for the holidays, and I believe our next guest was Hallie.
Was it? Yes, it was.
Let me look, because I know that.
No, it was.
Because I know she was our last one before the break. Was Priscilla, and then we had our little break. I know me and you came on. Yeah, Hallie was the next one. Now, this to date, Hallie was the most viewed one that was not boosted, that we did not boost. That one had more views, more likes, more comments than any one we did. Now, we didn't get to really say much during that one.
We sure didn't.
She was on.
Nope.
She was on a roll. She was on a roll.
But here's the thing about Hallie. Like, you know, she's my first cousin. We didn't even get to some of the stuff that I would have liked to talk about. I guess I won't put too much into it because what a lot of people don't understand is, and I'll say it, is her aunt or her mother was my mom's sister. Well, she was shot and killed by Butte County sheriffs a couple years ago. We didn't even get into that. So between that, losing an aunt to that, you know, that way, and Hallie coming on and talking about what she did without even touching on that side of things was just like, that's great. Like, she's so good at what she does that you don't get a chance to say anything because she's so full of information, right? Like
yeah.
I remember thinking
she's like an Encyclopedia Britannica, just exploded words out.
But what she was talking about too was pretty good because that's what this whole podcast is based on. Is our brother Hill, who's a Native American, and she's bringing to light some of the difficulties and the stuff that is never talked about in that community. Right. So to hear that, it was like drinking through a fire hose at that point.
Yeah, it was. Now I want to touch on some things that like with hers that I have tons of notes. Like I said, when I started notes, look how nice and pretty they are at the top. By the end, it was like just write what I could to try to keep up. One of the questions that I wrote on here is, how come we don't hear more about this stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't hear enough about it because now there's some people I've talked to since then that we bring up this particular podcast that we had, and we talk about it, and they're like, well, yeah, there's Sovereign Nation, whatever, they go on, but they had no idea it was as bad as it is,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy how all this that whole thing worked. I can't wait to get her back on to get more information. I mean,
yeah,
we're gonna have to buckle in and really take our notes.
Hey, what we'll do for that one though, is we'll get all her talking out before she starts talking, because she is just gonna unload again, which is good.
Yeah. Dude, when she unloads, it's almost like a 50 cal going. I mean, it's just, and then like she would try to tell her something. She goes, "No, wait, you gotta hear this." It was awesome, man. I loved it.
Yeah.
But then we had Danny Fitzpatrick was our last guest that we had.
That was another tough one.
That one was tough for me because I've known Danny for so long. I knew what had happened with him, but I didn't know, like the full story, like what he gave us. That was awesome. That was awesome with Danny. I mean, that's got to be rough, especially, I imagine every time he tells that story, he relives it a little bit, and I'm sure it's hard every time, But golly, man, that one was rough. That one was a rough one for me too.
Yeah, it was.
But
You can tell that man was a pastor before, because just how what's good about I liked about his is you could tell he came to peace with what happened, and he is comfortable to talk about it, and he is comfortable to talk about his new wife, and like that's awesome that he came to peace with that, because I think that's just great. And hell, I think I teared up at the very beginning.
man, there was times like when he would start to kind of choke up, I would kind of catch myself
Yeah.
trying to look away, or because I mean it's hard. I think as a man, it's harder to shed tears than it is anyone else.
100%.
Especially a man that that we try to be. The man that we try to be is hard. I mean, you don't want to be laughed at. You don't want to be looked at as, well, you're just I mean, like, believe it or not, we have feelings too.
Well, that all comes back, to the society that we were raised in back then. And like I said, we had a motley crew of cougars that you don't want to show that to.
Mm-hmm.
In my house now with my girls, I'm teaching my oldest right now that it's okay to express your emotions, and it's okay to feel ways that you feel.
Yeah.
And that I think that needs to be hit on too with parents that are raising children, and like it's okay to have these emotions, and we just got to figure out how to express them in a healthy way. So.
Well,
Yeah.
my oldest, well, both of my girls actually, they'll tell you still today that if ever they felt like they were going to cry or anything, I would try to shut that shit down soon. I would tell them, like, big girls don't cry. We just don't cry, or whatever. And looking back, I hope that didn't damage them as they get older. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope they don't be like, well, my dad said I don't cry. Just not allowed to. And I hope that doesn't come back to bite me,
Well, you're still stuck in that mentality,
Oh, yeah. When I had children, I was still in that mentality that we don't cry. We don't do it. We just don't. It's not allowed. My dad, he had cancer, and he fought that cancer, like a champ. Not one time did I really see him like get down on it, And I mean, between being raised by the man that did that and military experience and everything else that we have, it's hard to show emotions. I mean, it just really is. I actually got asked the question earlier by somebody, what is it about me that makes me feel like I can't open up to people? And honestly, I don't have an answer for it. I'll open up when I feel like I'm ready, type shit, and I remember when I first, got back, I remember I was barbecuing with my dad, and we were talking or whatever, and I was going to talk to him about some of the stuff that was going on in my head, and he straight up told me, he's like, look, we're having a good time barbecuing. Nobody wants to hear about that. And it resonated with me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like it resonated with me to the point where, the strongest man that I've ever met in my life feels this way about it, then maybe I shouldn't talk about it. Maybe people are tired of hearing about it, or, whatever. So there for a long time, I didn't talk about it at all, And, you hear these stories of like these Vietnam vets and these World War II vets and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, my uncle was in Vietnam, but he won't ever talk about it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to get people to do with this podcast, is feel more comfortable to come out and talk about the things that are bothering you.
Yeah.
Hang on, somebody's at my door.
Uh-oh. No, I think like with us just letting people tell their stories, like you never know who else has a similar story, and that's why we do it. That's why we try not to interrupt a whole lot, because it already takes enough courage to sit there and come out and tell the story, you know. So like I think that's the hardest part. It's just getting started, just like committing to, yep, I'll come on here and I'll talk about, what I dealt with. So, and then,
Yeah,
eventually you never know who's
yeah, the
listening.
starting.
That might have issues, and like, well, shit, they did it. There's no reason I can't. So,
Hang on just a second. They're in the bowl. Yeah, you can take that out. Sorry about that.
no, I just don't want people to say, like, oh shit, they just.
Sorry. usually the podcasts are usually over by this point, and there's some stuff going on, so they were asking me questions, but I'm all yours now. Sorry.
No, I was just explaining. You heard what I said. But I guess
the starting point to talk about it, you almost have to go back to the first time that you felt that way. I don't know. I don't honestly know, like, the first time I felt like shit was hard. For
That's
the
actually-
fact that I was hard headed.
that's actually a good. I don't either. I think it started with my sleep. Like, I remember I couldn't sleep. I still can't to this day. But shit, that's tough. I don't remember either.
People would tell me I would do these things like during my sleep or whatever. I just thought, nah, they're just trying to get a good laugh out of the veteran. You know what I mean? I would pull guard on my house. I mean, I would get up and literally grab my gun and sit outside for an hour or so. Then I would go to bed.
Normal.
Well, it's fire guard.
No, I think we all have all this. Yeah, but everyone's experiences differ. Like we went to combat with some people that have been there 3-4 times before us already. And this is an 05. Yeah. Like who, like, so it's like, but no, I mean, that's actually probably a whole different conversation. Is when did people notice that they had issues, that they weren't feeling the right way? They were feeling a little off, a little different. Like I remember I just stopped kind of going out. Like I still do that now because I have 2 kids, a wife, and I just don't like to hang out with people a whole lot. So like I'll do anything I can to avoid that, because that's just, I'd rather be at home. But, like,
yeah.
Like that.
Well, and also one of the things that kind of, get to me was, I would be like my mom. Okay, my mom had a intervention with me last week. I told you about it, and
I actually do want to hear more about what was behind that, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, I don't mind sharing. Okay, so everybody gets in their ruts. They get in their ruts where they feel like, like the whole world's bullshit. Like nothing makes sense anymore. Um, I know I talked to you last week and I was confused about a lot of shit, like every morning we get up, like me, I'm a salesman, so I have to get up and make myself presentable. It's not like I work in like a salt mine somewhere where, it don't matter how you look when you get there because you're going to come out nasty and dirty and look like shit anyways. Like I would, I have to get up, make myself presentable, go to work, talk to these people, and have a smile on my face every day, and make somebody else's life, their dreams come true.
Yep.
Um, and like, you get to thinking about the big picture. Like, am I wasting space? Am I just here? Like, what's the point of it? Like, and it's easy, it goes back to what I said before. It's easy for us not to see the things that are to be thankful for when you get in those ruts. And when you get in those ruts, you see all the shit that's stupid and you don't understand why. You don't understand all the things you should be thankful for. And I was in one of those ruts where I couldn't see what to be thankful for. I could just see, like, I'm spending my life working my ass off for somebody else. I when I come home, I lock myself in a room and I either play guitar or listen to music until it's time to go to bed. I get up the next morning and it's all over again. You do that day in, day out. It's a rut is what it is. And if I'm not sleeping, I'm usually in here playing my guitar or listening to music or, working on my other podcast. I don't really do anything. This weekend I moved my camper down to the new Deer Lease, which I want to give a shout out to Robert, Allen, and Landry for helping me with that. I had to be back early, but either way, I did it, and that was the first time that I went out of town for anything fun. Well, really, the first time I went out of town since I took my kid on that wasn't work related. I mean, that's sad. That's a sad way to live your life, And so last week we had a snow day. Snowed 8 inches here in Odessa. It was pretty horrible. Yeah, it was horrible for West Texas. Now I know you're up there laughing like that in Colorado, but
I love
in West Texas down here, and down here in West Texas, if it starts raining, people forget how to drive anyway. But my mom came to my house, and of course I was asleep. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I was knocked out. I was asleep. She stuck her head in my room and said, "I need to talk to you in the living room for a minute." I said, "All right." So I get up, I go in the living room, and she's sitting there, and she's like, she goes, "I'm legitimately concerned about you." She said, "You don't have any desire to do anything. All you want to do is sleep, or you lock yourself up in that room back there. You don't talk to nobody. You don't have a desire to go on dates. You don't have a desire to do this. You don't have a desire to do that." And then, she told me, she was like, "I love the podcast that y'all are doing. I really do, because I feel like it could help somebody. but how can you help somebody when you're not right yourself? And of course, me being me, I told my mom, everything's fine. Everything's fine. You don't have nothing to worry about. Um, I went on to explain to her, I sure as hell don't want to go on dates right now because Valentine's right around the corner and I don't really want to spend no money on anybody. Kind of, kind of try to, yeah, kind of try to, lighten the mood a little bit. But honestly, I didn't even realize that it was that apparent that anything was going on with me. And I'm not saying like anything was really going on. I just felt like I got in my rut. You know, I, I don't think that like you can pinpoint it on one thing that was going on with me. I had some issues, with with some stuff with my kids. Stressing out about stuff that, maybe I shouldn't have been stressing out about. I mean, I came to work at a weird time for my new job, and at the point, I still haven't even got my first paycheck, in which I knew it was coming that Friday, but I still, kind of lost my cool. Worried about what if it doesn't come this Friday? What if something is wrong in the bank or something? What if I got a digit wrong on my routing number or something? That could cause it not to be there. You know, it's just a lot of things were stressing me out all at once. And plus, starting a new job in sales. Yeah, I know my product. I know what I'm selling. I've worked with it for years, but it's hard to sit down when we have these meetings and look at what the other salesman's doing and not compare yourself. Even though I just started, I feel like my numbers should be the exact same, if not more, because that's the competitive side of me. But it is what it is. Like I said, it's nobody's fault. I just got in a little bit of a rut, you know, but I think everybody goes through it at times,
100%.
Since then, we started the talks with GB, which come on every day. That helps, um, because by nature, I love coaching. I love coaching. When I was coaching football, I loved it. When I had my last job, I kind of helped somebody that was starting a workout regiment that helped her hit her goals. Stuff like that. I mean, I love to coach. And I feel like with Talks with GB, I'm more like a motivational coach with anybody that listens to it. So it kind of feels good to me, like it feels like I'm, like my purpose is coming back. You know what I'm saying? So, like that's one of the things that I kind of, take from having the other podcast,
That's good. It's real
Yeah.
good. Well, I think everyone does get in a rut, and it's like, how do you manage that when you get there? Are you gonna,
That's,
I mean, because I get into them, I do. Been doing really, really good lately, I think, and not everyone's that fortunate though. And with my job is, I'm not going to disclose too much on what I do, but I get to see the younger generation go through their hard times, their trials and tribulations, and then part of me thinks, I'm like, you're like 22, life hasn't even started yet, and then part of me's like, it's like, holy shit, you're getting this.
I was thinking about that the other day. 24 me and 37 me, two totally different people. honestly, I don't know if I would like hanging out with 24.
Here's my
I
little
think
girl.
if there's my girl.
There she
Hey,
is.
baby.
Say hi.
She's
tired.
I think that 24 me would get on my damn nerves.
Oh, absolutely. I'd fight 24 me. I would absolutely fight that dude. Or he'd probably fight me first. He'd fight me first.
Yes. Well, I would dust his ass, man. I mean, it's just one of those things, like, and like, this is something that bugs me too. You have this reputation of this is who you were, back then, or whatever. You get this reputation. So when you hang out with people you haven't hung out with in a long time, they're expecting to see this 24 you. You know what I'm saying? And like, you don't want to let them down, but you don't want to, like, totally go away from what you've been doing your whole life, But sometimes you tend to overdo it, and it makes
don't want to let them down. Hell yeah, you can let them down. Oh man. Anyway,
I know me and my sister have had the argument before, like, well, you used to do it. Well, used to. There's a reason why I used to do it.
I don't anymore.
Now I don't. Yeah. But it's crazy how life fucks you up like that. It's like life just comes out of nowhere and bitch slaps you and says, dude, grow the fuck up. Like there's no warning, nothing. I mean, it's like you go to bed one night drunk as shit, and the next day you're like, you know what? I'm not going to do that no more. And you actually stick to it.
Aaron Watson has a song called The Road.
Yes.
That's like a perfect. Okay. That's like a perfect description of like life, I think. Every time I hear it, that's what I think. I'm just the road. And it's like the path that you choose is up to you, I guess.
Yeah.
Too. But you gotta be able to, you gotta have positive reinforcement and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And and with being a single man, one of the things that you miss as far as, being in a relationship is having that person when you come home where you can sit down to and tell them, like, this is what happened on my day to day, or whatever, having that somebody to talk to, and just vent to and know that everything's going to be okay. That is one of the things. Being single sucks because, I mean, I could tell my dog all I want, and my dog is only interested in the treat that's in my hand. He ain't gonna say anything.
And I think that's what's good. Like, not trying to take away, like, you're single, but me and my wife, or my wife and I, she'll message me, can you call me? I need to vent. I'm like, here we go. But I know that I need to be that person, that she vents to.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
What is it for?
What's gonna happen? So but everyone needs that person. And just because you're single doesn't mean you can't have that, I guess. Well, shit, you call them all the time. But it's not the same.
I'll vent to you. I vent to my sister. I vented to her before, and I mean, man, I gotta give my sister props. She works in the elementary system, working with the life skills unit, which those are the kids that are, like, have problems. Like yesterday, she had a rough day. One of the kids, she was trying to restrain and come back, hit her in the face, knocked her glasses off, all kinds of shit, I can feel sorry for her because I've been in her shoes before, and and it's rough. It's hard not to. You try not to bring your work home with you.
Yeah.
The stuff that pisses you off at work, you try to leave it at work, and you try to you try not to bring that shit to your house, because once you start bringing it home, that's when shit everything gets crazy.
It doesn't.
But
Yeah, it
with
never really works.
you know, with her, it was hard not to bring it home because hell, she was still upset about it. But shit. I mean, that goes with any job. It don't matter what you do. You could be the milkman and be pissed off because the Johnson family still owes you 25 cents for the last fucking load, and you still had to take them another load.
Yeah.
It's easy to take your work home no matter what you do. But that's one of my suggestions to people, if at all possible, when you clock out at the end of the day, leave your work at work. And try not to bring that shit home with you, because it does nothing but cause problems.
Well, that also ties back into like police officers, for example, is you're you're with all these A-type personalities, and you go through whatever you go through that night on the beat, or whatever, and you come home, and if you don't have that person that you don't want to talk to, like, that shit just builds up, man. It just completely will build up and overtake you, but no one wants to talk about it. And I guess that's why we're here. Like, it needs to change.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of differences on like some of the commercials I've seen about mental health, and like I feel like as a country we're trying to move in the right direction, slowly but surely. Like, I'm seeing differences, which is great. So
Bellwether, no, we're the pioneers.
Trying to be. Can't even get your damn internet going.
That's not my fault, man. I do got something to say about Bellwether now. Shout out to Shaka McHale for the getting the logo design. That guys, we had numerous logos to choose from day one. Since our very first show, we've been getting suggestions on our logo, and we had numerous to choose from, and we had so many we couldn't choose. But it was to the point where we needed to do something for branding. We needed to have some kind of logo. We needed to do something. So we finally we decided on the one we went with, and I like it. A lot of people don't understand, but the sign that's behind the BWK on it is actually the sign for mental health. Is that right? The mental health? Is that what it means?
It's actually, let's not speak on that until we know. Because I want to say another thing that you didn't say, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Don't quote me on that. But it means something. It has a meaning. It's not just a bunch of squiggly lines. It means something. But those of you that send in logos and stuff, don't worry. Your logos will be used. Maybe not on the podcast, but they will be used for something else.
Yeah. And it's appreciated.
I'm not going to go into too much depth on that yet because it's not up and running. Once it's up and running, then I'll tell you where you can find your logos that you submitted. And anybody else want to submit logos, that would be great, because I could really use them for the next project that I have coming up. So those of y'all that are stuck through it, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Say hi.
Allie, tell everybody hello.
Oh, now she's tired. So I guess we got to go to bed.
Man, I'm tired too. Guys, we love y'all. Like and share. Go check out the YouTube. If you haven't yet, go check out the Talks with GB. Can I put a link on here so people can go find the Talks with GB?
Sure.
Okay. Tim does ask how often we do this. Honestly, we don't have it down to a set time. We try to do it at least once a week. If we know there's going to be a week we miss, we try to do it twice that week just to make
But
sure
you
that
know,
we get one.
let me speak on that too.
Yeah.
We'd like to do it more. We both have full-time jobs. I have a family that I got to tend to. So, like, shit happens sometimes. So, it's like we would love to be able to give you a schedule, but in reality, I don't think that we'd be lying if we said, here's the schedule.
Yeah. And
Even though we try our hardest.
We're trying to get better about sending out, creating an event to let people know when we're going to go live. That way to kind of help, people that do watch and care about it, that at least they'll know that we're going to be online. We're getting better about that. But I think now that we discovered something that we'll be able to do it a lot more on schedule, I think, if we can get the internet to work.
Yep.
But I don't want to go too much into that because I don't know how it works yet, and I don't want to speak out of turn. But everybody, thank you for coming and watching us, guys. Like I said, the more people that you can share this to, more people that actually hit the share button, the more people we're going to reach out to. And that's what we want. We want to reach out to people, let people know that we're here. Y'all don't hesitate messaging us. We're usually pretty good about getting back to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of messages.
But anyways, y'all take it easy, and I love each and every one of you, and I will see y'all on the next one.
Yeah.